Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. This time, I'm going to go over my tricolor anti-meta Cheelai Wish deck. So this is something I came up with a few ideas. You know, of course, I took some inspiration from Eggman's top 4 build from PPT Dallas, but I did kind of have this idea already brewing in my head. Originally, it was a blue-green build, but then I got some advice from my teammates, and we found out that yellow is really essential in this format. Like, I kind of already knew that yellow was the best color in this format. I've said that in previous videos, but I think this deck did really need it. I do think that if the format kind of shapes up a little bit and changes and maybe some hits are made on a ban list, you know, Bandai kind of hinting at that ban list, shout out to them, they can you can kind of steer away from yellow in this deck. I think you can go just green-blue, but I think for the current format, with Super Shenron Storm being a thing, and Super Shenron Height being a thing, and Scaleless going really wide, and all that kind of stuff, I do think that yellow is pretty essential for Bloodless and Nimbus. But yeah, so right now it's a tricolor anti-meta deck, completely anti-meta. I'll explain that once we get into the into the deck. I'll talk about the curve as well, so you guys can pretty much get the play-by-play on how to play this deck. It's really cool. It's one of my contenders for ARG Springfield this weekend. I do think it's pretty solid. It's got some pretty neat plays, and again, it is total anti-meta, which if you guys know, if you guys follow the channel, I'm really not a fan of Super Shenron. I really want to just counter that deck, so we're going to talk about it. Before we get into the video, guys, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, make sure that notification bell, stay up to date with awesome Dragon Ball Super content that I post here. If you're looking for a Dragon Ball Super community, check out the Discord in the description below. Amazing group of people that answer any question you guys have. Great place for new players. And finally, guys, if you're a longtime fan of the channel and want to support the channel, check out the Patreon in the description below. Lots of competitive content for you guys to read up on, especially important if you're going to ARG Springfield. With that being said, we'll get into this deck profile. So, tricolor anti-meta Cheelai. If you guys don't know what she does, I'll go over her real quick. On both sides, you cannot add cards from your life to your hand unless you use her own effect to do so. That's more relevant on the unawakened side, but yeah, that's really good. In specific decks, there are some decks take more advantage of it. This deck doesn't take advantage of that too much. This deck, we're taking more advantage of just the green cards we can play and the wishes we can play. And activate main on the unawakened side, once per turn, search Dragon Ball. So unfortunately, she's a little bit slower to awaken sometimes if you don't hit your key pieces in the deck, but we play some cards to kind of mitigate that. And yeah, so when she flips over, you're allowed to get a Broly BR from your drop area to your hand. And then on the awakened side, typical Shenron stuff, you can draw a card, you can activate a green or black Desire, no other colors for free. And her ulti says remove 7 Dragon Balls, and you can summon 2 Frieza armies, 2 drop or less from your deck. So that is actually somewhat relevant sometimes if you're pushing for game. You can grab your 2 super combos out of the deck, which is actually pretty busted, you know, grabbing 2 super combos that cycle out all the dead cards in your hand, because this deck is a bit extra card heavy, but we have some cards in the deck, pretty much our super combos, that kind of mitigate that issue. So really good there. She does have the ability to attack on the awaken and unawakened side, which a lot of Shenron leaders don't have that ability to do, but the trade-off is she does awaken a little bit slower than the rest of the Shenron leaders, but that's fine. Usually, you know, the deck draws a ton, so you're usually able to hit what you need. So we'll get into the main deck. We've got the 6 regular Dragon Balls, and we got the 1 Super Dragon Ball. Skip over Bulma for a second. So the Super Dragon Ball, it's, in my opinion, it's a really good turn 2 play. You just see so many cards. You need to see those cards, especially if you don't hit your Oob fast enough. Things like that. It helps you awaken, because you do in this deck, you want to awaken by turn 3 the latest. Turn 2 in an ideal world, so you can just start, you know, being big and drawing cards. Super Dragon Ball really helps with that. You might think Objection is the turn 2 play, but Objection is actually going to be the turn 3 play, and I'll talk about that once we get towards the middle of the deck profile. So I like the 1 Super Dragon Ball. Don't really think that the 1-star ball is really necessary, because you don't really have anything you need to pitch, and you're not really doing too much hand control with your opponent. So 2 Dangerous Range Bulma. This was Dragon Radar. I was back and forth between this and Dragon Radar. Dragon Radar is nice because you can draw 2, you can recycle your wishes, but the deck was already clunky and extra cards, so I kind of wanted to mitigate that. And Bulma is really good because I've actually played this deck a bunch, and sometimes you are close to decking out. So that's kind of an issue, and that's something that can help that. It helps with the Gemma matchup, and it also lets you put your Broly BRs back into the deck for Kind Wish, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So it's a multi-purpose card, really, really good. I like it over Child's Wish, and it does have combo power. Then we have 2 World Peace. So this is your follow-up extra card. Follow-up to Kind Wish, because Kind Wish is your turn 3 play. World Peace is your turn 4 play, which I'll talk about once I get to the curve of the deck. 2 is fine because this is what you're going to need to win the game, and 2 is fine. You draw plenty of cards in this deck with Super Dragon Ball. Sometimes you can just get there. It usually will just get there by turn 4, so really good. 4 Senzu Bean, 2 Burn Response Borgos, and 3 Objection. This is the blue package I choose to play. Senzu Bean is incredible defensively this format because of Super Shenron Storm. Senzu Bean is really good offensively with our win condition of SS4 Goku, which I will talk about a little bit later. And then the 2 Borgos is just another anti-meta card, and it was a good card to round out the blue package Wanted to have a good number of blues in the deck, and then the Borgos was an extra card I could just play there, because a lot of times in this deck you're not doing too much until 4 energy, and you're not actually using a lot of offensive energy. So Borgos is just a good card to set down there, and Borgos and Whis are both really good this format. You're going to notice that Whis is also in this deck. Pretty much similar purpose. It rounds out the yellow package, and it gives us plays to just see more cards and to floodgate our opponent, which is what we want. This deck is completely anti-meta. You want to stop your opponent from making their plays, and then you want to make your play, and you want to win the game. So objection is really important in this deck, because I think that you need to be free Kind Wishing. Spoiler alert, we play Kind Wish. That's the free wish of choice for this deck. I think you need to be Kind Wishing on turn 3 against pretty much every deck in the format. So you have like Super Shenron Storm. If you wait to Kind Wish till turn 4, you probably are going to lose the turn before that. So it's too late. You need to Kind Wish on turn 3 against Super Shenron when they have height on the board. When they have path on the board, not height. You want to Kind Wish before they get to height, so you want to Kind Wish the path away and stop their plays there. It's really good against Skillless because they can go super wide by turn 3, so wiping their board is really important. I think turn 3 is the turn you need to Kind Wish, and I think any turn past that is a little too slow. So that's why I wanted to fit objections to this deck and make it a little more anti-meta that way. So that's the whole reason for our blue package. Then we have Shocking Death Ball at 3. It's a free negate. Lets us take cards to from our light to our hand if we ever need to, if our opponent's trying to kind of slow roll us, and it's just more defense. You know, we're playing 6 negates in this deck and 3 Bloodlust, so very, very defensive deck in that sense. It is anti-meta, completely defensive. This card's actually really good against Storm variants as well, especially Super Shenron Storm. Popping that dependable Dynasty Goku is really good. Paragus Super Combo, excellent. Oob, it's the reason this deck is somewhat playable. If you don't hit this card, you do have a little bit of a rough time, but like I said, with Super Dragon Ball, you can usually get there. When you have this card, you're pretty much always going to awaken turn 2 for the most part, as long as you had a little bit of luck on your side. And this card's actually also incredibly good on defense as well, especially against Storm. You're going to notice this deck does a lot, really well against Storm. You can pop 1-drop. So you pop the Bardock, you know, if they attack into the leader, you either can Shocking Death Ball the 1-drop, or you can Oob, pop the 1-drop, and also get in the process of awakening. So really solid there. 3 Kind Wish. We need this by turn 3 because we usually are going to awaken by turn 3. And you're typically going to objection on turn 3. So the curve of the deck is turn 1, you can do whatever. You can play a Whis, you can play a Borgos. Turn 2, you want to tap out for Super Dragon Ball. You don't actually want to objection yet. You want to tap out for Super Dragon Ball. Usually I'll dump an SS4 Goku and I'll dump a Broly BR if I draw into one, so that when I awaken on my leader I can get it back. And then turn 3, you're actually going to objection. That's going to put you to 4 energy, and you're going to have 2 energy to play with to do whatever you need to do. You can defend with that energy, you can play Whis, you can play Borgoses, things like that. And then you're going to Kind Wish and wipe your opponent's board on turn 3. That's the whole idea of this deck. And then you're going to bring a Broly rushing forth from your deck out onto the board if you control the battle cards, which usually you won't. Even if you do play Whis and Borgos early, if you can afford to do it, you're going to combo those away to 1, defend yourself, and to 2, clear your board so that you can bring them out from the deck with Kind Wish. So Broly rushing forth is the first real threat we're going to play in the game on turn 3, which is not too bad. A 20k crit body is really good. Originally, when I first came up with this deck, or like the idea for this deck, I was playing the Broly 7 drop that this goes into, but with this type of deck, discarding 2 to summon a Broly is not very good. The burst 3 is not very good. You get way too close to decking out. I just want the 20k crit body with Kind Wish. I just want that. In a dual color build, if you're playing green-blue, if the format does slow down a bit, you can play some extra Brolys, and you can play some double strikes, some like Champas or Kais, but the deck's a little tight on space with the way it's built tricolor right now. So just a little important note there. But I do like the 2 rushing forth. 2 just means that if one's in your life, you don't get screwed, and if 1 ends up in your hand, you can just drop combo it or discard it off Super Dragon Ball. You can get some value off your leader awaken, and you can Dangerous Journey Bulma, send it back to the deck, and then summon off Kind Wish. Then we have our win condition. Twin Onslaught SS4 Goku. This card is so good, and it's been really good ever since the Shenron Green deck came out in set 5, but that Shenron leader wasn't too great. Cheelai is much, much better, and Oob makes this type of archetype much more playable. And so SS4 Goku, if you guys don't know what it does, it is a double strike deflect, so it's not interacted with by Cold Bloodless or Crusher Ball, which is incredible. It's a burst 5, which is one of the reasons this deck can mill itself out pretty quick, which is why Dangerous Journey Bulma is really important. But when you play this card, you can burst 5, and if your leader's a green Shenron, you can KO all your opponent's battle cards. But it does choose, so it does not get around barrier. But if your opponent still has barrier battle cards after that effect, you get to negate all their skills for duration of the turn. So like Deadly Defenders, you just negate them and you can attack right past them. You don't have to attack into Deadly Defenders. Blocker barriers, they don't get blocker anymore, which is really good. And then it gains dual attack. So you can basically plow through 4 life with just this card alone. It's 25k, dual attack, double strike. That's why Senzu Bean is really good as well, because you get to just throw that extra 5k onto the SS4. which is really, really good. So this is pretty much our win condition of the deck. So like I said, turn 1, whatever, Whis, Borgos, Dangerous Journey, Bulma. Turn 2, Super Dragon Ball. Turn 3, Objection into Kind Wish. Turn 4, World Peace back the SS4 Goku. And then you're pretty much good to go from there. That's pretty much your win condition. Turn 4, win con. And the idea is that most games in this format are ended on turn 4, and this deck can halt all the other decks from doing their turn 4 win condition or turn 3 win condition. So that's really good. Now we have the yellow package. Again, I mentioned this is really here because the format is the way it is. Otherwise, if it was a little bit of a slower format or a little bit less of a, you know, degenerate format with Super Showdown, if you want to say that, yellow wouldn't be super necessary, but I think it's really important right now. So 3 Bulbas just stop the Explorer Bulmas, stop a lot of the opponent's tempo plays. Battering Laser because it's a really good card. It lets you. This is really good actually with your win condition because you're usually going to free world piece the win condition unless you have, like, you know, the ability to use the ulti and bring out super combos. But if you do just like free wish out the SS4, you have energy for battering and you can stop your opponent's negates and really just plow through all 4 of their life. And 3 Flying Nimbus because it's incredible in this format, one of the best cards in this format. And then 3 Whis just because it rounds out the yellow package and it's the same thing as Borgo. It's just flooding your opponent, completely anti-meta, guys. So I don't know, I feel like this game is so young that we don't see a whole lot of anti-meta decks, and I thought this was a pretty cool concept to bring to you guys. It's one of my contenders for ARG Springfield, as I mentioned, so let me know what you guys think about the deck. This is still a work in progress. I'm still tweaking it, even to this day. I'm still trying to figure it out if I'm going to take it to Springfield or not, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about this deck in the comments below. Really interested to hear your thoughts. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you do playtest it, let me know how it goes. Really, really want to know what you guys are thinking. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time. You actually sat through all of that and made it to the end? I don't know how you did it, but now that you're here, you might as well hit the subscribe button that's right above me, or maybe check out some of these other videos. I don't know, and I guess we'll see you in the next one. I really don't know how you did it, but good on you.